All right, what team is it today? Driving home from work. I act like I don't know. We're talking Indiana Pacers. You know, the team that leads the league in pace. I don't know if that's ever been true. I mean, they're called the Pacers. Never actually thought what a pacer is. They're just a team that just walks back and forth in the locker room to think things over. Or they, like the pacer. Do you remember the pacer test? I don't know if a lot of people had to do that in elementary school. You have to run back and forth with the beeper thing. So maybe they just do that all day, just getting that cardio in. Indiana Pacers. Jokes aside, I'll be honest with you, I have predicted that this team would go to the Eastern Conference Finals for like the past 3 years, like partially joking, but hoping it would happen. And it has not. I don't know what their highest seed was in that span, but it's they did not even sniff the Eastern Conference Finals yet. But we got a new guy at the helm, Mr. Rick Carlisle. You know, hard to say what he's about based on he's got a ring. Can always say that. Always has that to rely on. There's a guy like Doc Rivers has a ring too. And it's really hard to gauge how good some of these coaches are, if it even matters, because there are a lot of coaches that don't have rings, but like some of the guys that do, you're kind of like, well, and listen, like that Dallas Mavericks team probably should not have won a title, so I feel like Rick Carlisle should deserve some credit for that. Even the past couple of years, when you think about the Mavs roster, has not been ideal. I kind of talked about a little bit when I was touching on in the Luka video. Like, that roster is not great, and they, you know, we're in the middle of the West, and the West is always, you know, crazy competitive, and I got to think Rick Carlisle brings something new to the table, because the Nate Bjorkgren experiment lasted 1 year. You know, at the time even, the Nate McMillan firing didn't make a ton of sense, and so, I mean, he went off, and now Atlanta's, you know, reaping the benefits of it. You know, he could have been in Indiana that whole time, but he helps Atlanta get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So here's Indiana now looking like, shit, we just fired that guy. So from like a GM standpoint, really, the Pacers pretty damn good in terms of, you know, the Paul George trade, getting Sabonis was massive for them. You know, they drafted Miles Turner, signed Malcolm. Like, this is a really solid roster when you think about, you know, the starting five. Brogdon, Karis LeVert will now have another year to kind of adjust to this team. For TJ Warren, we forget Bubble Warren was like crazy. I don't know if we'll ever get that again, but he didn't play much at all, and if he did, the games he did play, we don't know how healthy he was. So if you get a healthy TJ Warren at, you know, starting at wing, and you're looking at Sabonis and Miles Turner, I think that Rick Carlisle is going to have to come in and figure out the Sabonis-Turner thing, because if you look at, you know, some of the numbers, they're not great together on the floor. And I don't know, Miles Turner's a weird guy. I'm a big Texas fan. He's a little bit puzzling to me. His rebounding numbers are not great. Sabonis is more the rebounder. He's got the blocks. I think blocks are a little overrated when you think about, you know, say you and I were playing one-on-one, and I took 10 shots and you blocked 3 of them, but I made the other 7, versus like, you know, say I, you know, made only 5 of them and you didn't block any of them, but you heavily contested. Like, I don't think blocks are a great stat in terms of defense and kind of measuring a player, because Miles Turner is one of those guys that's like really jumpy and you know, will buy into a lot of pump fakes and stuff, and you give up a lot of buckets that way. You can't really, kind of sells out. So don't know. I mean, he was supposed to be traded to the Celtics for Gordon Hayward last offseason, and that didn't happen. Haven't heard anything about them moving him now. I'd have to think he would be most likely to be traded of anyone on the team. And look, they extended TJ McConnell. Love that, solid point guard. Just a pest. Like the worst guy. If you're a point guard and you're looking at TJ McConnell coming off the bench, you're like, this guy's gonna guard me 94-50. He's gonna be like that weird white guy that's just like tries really hard all the time. And if you're guarding him, you know when they inbound it, he's gonna be sprinting up the floor to get the offense going. So I mean, you love to have him. He's a great player, great to have off the bench, great energy guy. And you heard they offered Brogdon and a first for Ben Simmons reportedly, and I wouldn't be surprised, because if TJ McConnell, you can slide him into starting. Can he be a starting point guard? Don't know. Honestly, I think he's a great like sixth man energy guy. Whether he can play 35 minutes and produce day in and day out, who knows? But I wouldn't feel awful about Brogdon if you could bring in. I don't know about Ben Simmons, but if you could bring in, maybe upgrade somewhere else, I could see that. Also brought in Torrey Craig, which just seems like a great fit. I don't know, there's something about like the blue and yellow teams in the NBA, like Pacers, Jazz, Grizzlies, that all are kind of the like grit and grind thing going. And I feel like Torrey Craig's one of those guys, you could assign either of the three of those teams, I'd be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But like TJ McConnell could play for any of those teams, and you'd be like, yeah, they're just all interchangeable. I feel like, they have the same kind of identities to some degree, and you could just mix and match all of them. Same color scheme. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Denver is blue and yellow. Torrey Craig played for them as well. So that's it. I mean, pretty quiet offseason for the Pacers other than the head coach and Torrey Craig. They did draft Chris Duarte, who had a pretty solid summer league, older guy, and I feel like, I don't know, the whole idea of drafting like an 18-year-old who's got like the raw potential, I feel like doesn't pan out as well, in mid to late first round. It's hard to, didn't lose the phone, it slid, but it's still up, and I'm just on the side now. And that's fine, I'm not gonna touch it. Maybe we'll go one time without it falling down. Yeah, this idea of like drafting the really young guys and trying to develop them, I think there is advantage, especially with the team as complete as the Pacers, to go with an older guy that can contribute immediately. I think we saw it with like Desmond Bane in Memphis to bring up. All right, I have to move it. You can't. We don't want that. There's way too much passion. With Desmond Bane did that, drafted as a senior. I think it makes a lot of sense for them. They're gonna go. Oh, there it is. I jinxed it. I should have moved it. Maybe if I didn't move it. Yeah, with Desmond Bane, and they have Jeremy Lamb. If everyone stays healthy, like this is gonna be I could also see this team being like a 12 seed. Like it's really hard to. They have a pretty wide range. It's like them and the Bulls. I could see, like, if everything works, it's just a fit thing. Like, if everyone kind of learns how to play together, then it could really work. Like, I could see this team really taking off. But I could also see, like, Sabonis, Turner still not working. They can't defend. Too slow as the Pacers, which, it's not good. Brogdon... I don't know, Brogdon had a decent, I feel like he started off the year a lot better than he finished it. Caris, I don't know if ever he really got comfortable. They kind of had a big void. Small forward with TJ Warren out. It was like Doug McDermott, so they lost him. I don't know if they'll miss him or not. I feel like Duarte, Jeremy Lamb could kind of fill that. So, I don't know, and you're looking at a team, because they're so deep, that could potentially be in the trade market. I don't know about a big star, but I mean, you could package Turner. You could, if they want to move on from Brogdon. Jeremy Lamb's on like I don't know, $10 to $12 million deal. He can score. He's a good guy off the bench. Yeah, and you could try and get like upgrade a little bit, because obviously this is another team that's you're going to be stuck in kind of perpetual mediocrity if you don't make like a big move. So I mean, it's up to, but then again, the fit if the fit doesn't work, then that is the time. I think we'll look at mid-season, and time will really tell. Kind of, you know, these teams are gonna have to evaluate where they are 50 games in. And I think there's gonna be a lot of movement come whenever the trade deadline is. I don't know, was it like March? We're gonna see a lot of movement. I'd like to think Pacers would be active in that. I'd like to see them do well, make the Eastern Conference Finals for once, because I'm gonna keep predicting it until it happens, because eventually I'll get it. Might be in 30 years, but we'll make it happen. I gotta go to CVS, so I'm not heading directly home. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I can talk about the Pacers for 15 minutes, other than just going down the roster. They didn't make any moves. So I'm still excited to see how they do. Sabonis I like a lot. Caris LeVert I like a lot. I guess I like him. I got a buddy who gave me a shirt that had Brogdon and Sabonis. It was one of those like old school video game kind of shirts where it has their animated faces and then like their stats, like 3-point dunk and all that. So listen, I'm all in on the Pacers, okay? I think Rick Carlisle is going to bring something, at least, you know, boost this team a little bit, get them going right. I want you to see me as I say this. So we're looking out for Indiana. The Pacers going back and forth, up and down the standings probably is what that's going to be. But yeah, we'll see. But thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take it easy. We'll see you next time.